Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are going to be getting into DrayTek routers.
Oh, yeah.
And all the amazing ways they can connect you to the internet.
Awesome.
You know, you think routers and you're like, ugh, boring.
Yeah, right? Like, who wants to talk about that?
No, this is cool stuff.
This is cool.
Because it's like unlocking
Yeah.
these hidden levels of internet awesomeness.
It really is.
So we've got this great technical document from DrayTek and a study guide that we're working with. And we're going to decode all the different WAN connectivity options.
Okay.
And especially for those of us in Australia dealing with the
NBN.
NBN, yeah.
So what's really interesting about DrayTek is they offer so many different routers that cater to very specific needs.
All right.
So you've got your XDSL routers,
Okay.
which are for your ADSL and VDSL connections.
Right.
Then you have your broadband routers that are designed for Ethernet connections. And then, of course, you've got the LTE routers, which are becoming increasingly popular.
Okay, so it's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of situation.
Not at all.
You got to.
And even within each one of those types, you've got options for single, dual, or even multi-WAN configurations.
That's cool.
So that means you could potentially have multiple internet connections running simultaneously.
That's pretty awesome.
Which is great for redundancy and load balancing.
I can see how businesses would really like that.
Businesses love that.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the XDSL routers, because that's particularly relevant in Australia, NBN.
Yeah.
So we've seen this shift from ADSL to VDSL.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why that is?
Well, ADSL, as you may remember, was kind of the first widely adopted broadband technology.
Right, yeah.
And it used the existing phone lines, but it was very limited in its speed and distance.
Yeah.
Now, VDSL2 is designed for shorter distances, which is why it's perfect for those FTTN and FTTB NBN connections. Right. It allows for much higher download and upload speeds.
Awesome.
Which is essential for things like streaming and video conferencing.
Right, and that's where those modem codes come in, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So DrayTek routers have this really neat feature where you can select a specific modem code that's optimized for your internet provider and that DSLAM at your local exchange.
It's like fine-tuning your connection.
It's like fine-tuning it.
Okay.
And, you know,
to get the best possible.
even if you think your connection is working okay, sometimes experimenting with different modem codes can actually improve stability and speed.
It's like finding those hidden settings on a video game or something that unlocks a new performance level.
You got it.
All right, cool. So speaking of optimizing connections, we have to talk about VLAN tags.
Oh!
Now, this sounds a little bit technical, but it's a crucial part of making sure your data goes to the right place.
They make sure
on the NBN.
They make sure the data goes to the right place.
Okay.
Think of VLAN tags as like labels that identify your internet traffic and then make sure that that traffic is routed to the correct service provider.
So it's like...
Yeah, it's like having an address on an envelope that makes sure that your letter goes to the right person.
Right, so it's not just a matter of plugging in the cable.
It's not just plug and play. There's more to it.
This whole configuration that needs to happen in the background.
Yes.
Okay, and it's different for each provider.
Absolutely. For example, Dodo typically uses VLAN tag 100, whereas TPG might use 2 or 100, depending on your location.
Okay.
Ballongs uses 900. Telstra Business Fiber uses 101.
You've really got it.
Yeah, so you really need to check your provider's documentation or contact their support to make sure you've got the right VLAN tag configured.
Okay, it sounds like getting those VLAN tags right.
It's crucial.
Crucial for a smooth NBN experience.
It is.
All right, now this next one I think is pretty cool.
Okay.
It's the USB mobile WAN. It's like having this backup internet connection in your pocket.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Many DrayTek routers have the ability to connect a 3G or 4G USB modem. And essentially what this does is it turns your router into a mobile broadband hub.
Oh, wow.
This can be a real lifesaver in areas where fixed-line internet is unreliable or if your primary connection goes down.
So if the NBN's out, you just plug in the USB modem.
Plug in the USB modem.
And you're good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you can choose between PPP and DHCP modes.
Okay.
Depending on your mobile carrier's requirements.
I know. Speaking of mobile broadband, we have to talk about the LTE routers.
Yes.
They're becoming more and more popular, and with good reason, right?
They are?
Yeah.
They are.
So these are things like the Vigor 2865L, the 2927L.
Yes.
They're designed for high-speed mobile internet.
Exactly. They have a built-in LTE modem and a SIM card slot.
Oh, wow.
So you can connect directly to a mobile network.
So it's like having a dedicated mobile broadband connection.
Yeah, it's like having a dedicated connection.
Built right into your router.
Built right into your router.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And some of them even have dual SIM slots.
Oh, wow.
So you can have one SIM for your primary connection.
I bet businesses would love that.
Oh, businesses love that.
Okay.
You have one for your primary connection and then another one for automatic failover.
Okay.
So if your primary SIM card experiences an issue, the router automatically switches over to the second SIM.
That's awesome.
Keeps you online.
It's like an insurance policy.
It is. It's like an insurance policy.
For your internet.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting to see why DrayTek routers are so popular.
They're great.
Especially for people who rely on that stable connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even with all these different options for connecting, things can still go wrong, right?
They can.
Especially with the NBN.
Especially with the NBN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where features like Wi-Fi WAN, SOS, and ROC come in.
Yes.
I don't even know both.
Wi-Fi WAN is available on some dual WAN models.
Okay.
And this allows your router to connect to any available Wi-Fi hotspot as a backup.
So if your main connection drops, you can connect to your phone's hotspot. Or
you can connect to your phone's hotspot.
A neighbor's?
Your neighbor's Wi-Fi and stay online.
Okay. That's a neat trick.
It is a neat trick.
Now what about SOS and ROC?
Okay, so SOS and ROC...
I've heard those. They're technologies.
Thrown around, but I never understood what they do.
They were implemented by NBN Co.
Okay.
to combat stability issues on VDSL connections.
Okay.
Now, VDSL is very sensitive to noise and interference, which can cause dropouts.
Yeah.
So SOS and ROC help to mitigate these issues by dynamically adjusting the connection parameters.
So it's like a noise canceling?
Yeah, that's a noise canceling system for your internet connection.
For your internet.
Yeah.
But what about people who are using older DrayTek routers?
Oh, okay. So older models
don't
have a feature called seamless rate adaptation.
Okay.
Which was designed with a similar goal in mind.
All right.
It might not be as sophisticated as SOS and ROC, but it can still make a significant difference.
So there are solutions for older routers as well.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to a couple more advanced features.
All right.
That might be a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
For some users, but they're incredibly useful for those who want more control over their network.
Right.
So we're talking about...
bridge mode.
Bridge mode.
Yeah. Okay. And MTU settings.
MTU settings.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about bridge mode?
Bridge mode is a way to essentially turn your DrayTek router into a simple modem.
Okay.
And this can be really useful if you want to use a separate, more sophisticated router to handle your network's routing and firewall functions.
So you're bypassing the routing capability.
You're bypassing the routing.
The DrayTek.
And
letting another device...
Then letting something else take over.
Exactly. Okay. It's a common setup for people who want to use a high-end router with more advanced features.
Right.
Or for those who need to connect multiple devices to a single VDSL connection.
All right, so it's like separating the, it's like separating the brains
from the brawn
of your network. Okay, so you can choose the best tool for each job.
Now, what about MTU?
Okay, so MTU...
I've heard that mentioned.
...stands for Maximum Transmission Unit.
Okay.
And it determines the largest size of data packets that your network can handle.
Okay.
Now, if your ATU is set too high, data packets might get fragmented, which can lead to slowdowns and performance issues.
So it's like trying to fit a large package.
It's exactly like that.
Through a small door.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
It either won't fit or you've got to break it up into smaller pieces.
Which takes
longer.
Yeah.
So DrayTek routers offer two ways to determine the optimal MTU size.
Okay.
You've got the classic ping test, and then you've got the more advanced path MTU discovery tool.
Okay, so it's all about finding that right balance between...
It's about finding that balance.
Packet size and network efficiency.
Exactly.
And getting that right can really improve performance, especially for things like gaming and streaming,
where latency is crucial.
Where latency is very important.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So This has been really interesting.
Sure.
Let's take a step back for a second.
Yes,
Think about why all of this matters
Okay.
to you, the listener.
Right.
Like, why should you care
Why should you care about all these things?
about all these intricacies
Yeah.
of DrayTek?
Why should you care about DrayTek?
Well, one, connectivity options.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's so easy to take our internet connection
We do.
for granted these days.
Yeah, we just expect it to work.
It's such a vital part of our lives now.
It is.
Whether you're working from home, streaming movies.
Yeah. Just browsing the web.
Yeah.
You need a good internet connection.
You need a good connection.
And understanding
how your router works.
how your router works
Yeah.
can make such a huge
It can make all the difference
Yeah.
in your online experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's about taking control of your network and
Yeah.
making sure it's working optimally for your needs.
Okay.
And DrayTek routers, with all of their features and customization options, give you the tools to do that.
The Swiss Army knives
They are
router.
handle all kinds of
You
stuff.
can handle anything.
All right. But before
Right,
we
let you off.
send you off on your own
Yeah.
networking adventures, there's one
There's one
really important
aspect we haven't even talked about yet.
that we haven't touched on.
Security.
Security. That's a great point.
We've talked about all these ways to connect.
Yeah, we've talked about all the ways to connect.
On the internet.
But how do we protect ourselves?
Well, what about protecting your
threats
network from threats?
That's all.
It's a whole other
layer
complexity.
Yeah.
And a very important one.
That's a very important one.
So we're going to delve into the
Yeah.
security features of
Yeah.
DrayTek routers in the next part
Yes.
of our deep dive.
Yes.
So stay tuned for fascinating
Yes.
exploration.
Yes.
Firewalls, VPNs, and all those
Okay.
tools that can keep your network safe.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We just finished talking about all the awesome ways that DrayTek routers can connect you to the internet.
Yeah, all the different WAN options.
Now it's time to shift gears.
All right.
Talk about something equally important.
Yeah. Security. Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of like,
It is important.
you've got this awesome way to get online, but
You've built this great.
right, you leave your front door wide open.
But yeah, you got to protect it.
Right.
You got to protect it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. So you need to make sure that that connection is secure.
Right. Fortunately, DrayTek routers have
All the features
a lot of features
to help keep our network safe.
to help keep your network safe.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
Firewalls.
Firewalls.
Everyone's heard of them.
Yeah, everyone's heard of them.
But how do they actually work
But not everyone knows how they work.
in a DrayTek router?
So imagine a firewall as a very discerning border guard for your network.
Okay.
It examines all incoming and outgoing traffic,
Yeah.
and it compares it to a set of rules.
Right.
If something seems suspicious or
Yeah.
doesn't meet the criteria, the firewall blocks it.
Okay.
Now, DrayTek takes this a step further with what's called stateful packet inspection, or SPI.
Okay, so SPI.
Yeah, SPI.
What's so special?
So a basic firewall only looks at each data packet in isolation.
Okay.
SPI, on the other hand, has a memory.
Oh, wow.
It keeps track of previous connections
Yeah.
and analyzes traffic patterns.
Oh, so it can actually look for.
Yeah, so this allows it to detect and block more sophisticated attacks
Oh, wow.
that might slip past a traditional firewall.
So it's like a detective.
It is like a detective.
It's looking for clues.
Clues and patterns.
Looking for patterns.
Instead of just
Right.
checking IDs at the door.
It's not just checking IDs.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Yeah.
What other security features?
Okay, so another great security feature is content filtering.
Okay.
This is a way to control what types of websites can be accessed
Oh,
on your network.
interesting.
Now, this is particularly useful for families with young children.
Or businesses that want to make sure that their employees are stay focused.
Yeah, so you can block things like,
You can block things like gambling websites, social
Yeah.
media, or even specific keywords.
that's a really
Yeah, it's very powerful.
powerful tool to have.
It is.
So you can really create this kind of like
You can
customized web experience.
Yeah, you can create a very tailored experience
That's
for
true.
whoever's using that network.
Now, what about more active threat detection?
Okay. So
Do DrayTek routers offer anything like that?
DrayTek routers have intrusion detection and prevention systems built in.
Oh, okay.
So this is constantly monitoring your network traffic
Wow.
for any signs of malicious activity.
So it's not just about keeping bad things out.
It's not just about keeping bad things out.
It's actively looking
It's
for
actively looking for threats.
threats that are happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
It's like having a security system that's always on guard.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then there's VPNs, of course.
VPN.
The virtual private networks.
Everyone's talking about VPNs these days.
They're having a moment, aren't they?
They are.
So for people who don't know,
Yeah.
a VPN is essential for encrypting your internet traffic.
Yeah. It creates a secure tunnel
Okay.
between your device and the VPN server.
Right.
And this is crucial when you're using public Wi-Fi.
Right.
Because it protects your data from prying eyes.
Okay, so DrayTek routers can handle VPNs too.
Yes. DrayTek routers have very robust VPN capabilities built in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can create a secure connection to your home or office network from anywhere in the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Okay.
So you can ensure that your data stays private and protected.
It's like having your own personal security detail.
It is.
For your internet traffic.
It is.
No matter where you are.
No matter where you are.
Right. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, this all sounds very complex.
Yeah, it sounds complex, but it's not.
Difficult.
DrayTek has actually made it very user-friendly.
Oh, okay, good.
Their user interface is very intuitive and easy to navigate.
All right.
So even if you're not a tech expert, you can easily configure your firewall content filtering, intrusion detection, and VPN settings.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So they've really
done a good job.
Found that balance between
they have
powerful features and
but they found a good balance and user friendliness.
Now, are there any more
there are
advanced
features that might appeal to like tech-savvy users or businesses with specific needs?
So, for example, you've got object-based management.
Object-based management.
Yeah. And this allows you to group network devices and then apply security policies to them collectively.
Oh, okay. So instead of configuring each device individually,
you don't have to do everything individually.
You can group them.
Group them together.
Yeah. By device type, user, or location. And apply the same rules.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very efficient.
Especially for
a large business.
Businesses with lots of devices.
It's a lot of devices, yeah.
And then there's bandwidth management.
Bandwidth management.
Now, while that's not strictly a security feature, it can definitely play a role in keeping your network running smoothly and securely.
It can.
Okay, so how does that work?
So by prioritizing traffic and limiting bandwidth for certain applications, you can prevent one device or application from hogging all the resources.
So it doesn't slow down other things.
Yeah, so it doesn't slow everything down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it keeps things running smoothly.
It's all about creating this balance.
It's about creating a balanced,
secure
network environment.
It seems like DrayTek routers really offer this.
They do. They offer a very comprehensive
suite of security features.
That
are designed for both peace of mind.
Designed for peace of mind.
And granular control.
And that granular control.
Okay. But even with all these great tools at our disposal,
it's important to remember
things can still go wrong.
Yeah. Security is an ongoing process. It's not a set it and forget it kind of deal.
So what can our listeners do to stay proactive?
First and foremost, strong passwords.
Okay.
This is crucial.
Strong passwords.
Use a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols.
Okay.
And avoid reusing passwords across different accounts.
That's good advice.
Yeah, it is good advice.
But it's hard to...
But it is hard to remember.
Remember all that stuff?
All those passwords.
Do you have any tips for managing all those complex passwords?
Use a password manager.
Password manager?
Yeah, they can securely store and encrypt all of your passwords.
Okay.
So you only need to remember one master password.
That sounds like
And there are many...
lifesavers.
Yeah. There are many reputable password managers out there.
Okay.
Both free and paid.
All right. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
So what else can we do to...
Okay. So another thing you can do is enable two-factor authentication.
Two-factor authentication.
Whenever possible.
Okay.
This adds an extra layer of security by requiring you to enter a code from your phone or email in addition to your password when you're logging in.
Oh, so it's like a double lock.
Like a double lock on your door.
On your door.
Okay, I've seen that option on a lot of websites.
Yeah, you have.
But I've been hesitant to use it because it just seems like a hassle.
I understand, but the added security that it provides is well worth it.
All right, you've convinced me. What other proactive steps?
Okay, so another thing you can do is keep your software updated.
Keep your software updated. That includes your operating system, your web browsers, and any applications that you use. Updates often contain security patches that fix vulnerabilities that hackers could exploit.
Yeah, it's like patching holes
It is.
In your fence.
It's like patching holes in your fence.
To keep the bad guys out.
To keep the bad guys out.
Yeah. Sometimes those update notifications can be annoying.
They can be.
But
they're there for a reason.
I guess they're there for a reason.
They are.
And it's not just about your computer.
And it's not just about your computer. It's also about your router.
Right.
Make sure your DrayTek router's firmware is up to date.
Okay, so check for updates regularly.
Yes. Check for updates regularly.
So you're giving your security team the latest tools.
You're giving them the latest tools.
And intelligence.
And the latest intelligence.
To fight off those.
Yeah, to fight off those threats.
Yeah. Okay, what other practical tips?
All right, so be cautious about the links you click. Okay. And the attachments that you open, especially in emails and messages from unknown senders.
Right.
Phishing scams are increasingly sophisticated these days.
Yeah.
And clicking on a malicious link can lead to malware infection or data theft.
That's scary.
It is.
It is, so be careful.
But sometimes it's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell.
It's legitimate.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
So here's what you can do.
Okay.
Pay attention to the sender's email address.
Ew, okay.
Look for spelling and grammatical errors and hover over links to see the actual URL before clicking.
Okay.
And if something seems off, trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else?
Yeah. Consider using reputable antivirus and anti-malware software.
Oh, right.
This adds another layer of protection.
Okay.
It scans your devices for viruses, Trojans, and other malicious softwares.
So it's like having a security guard constantly patrolling.
It's like having a guard dog patrolling your network. All right. So with all of these tips and DrayTek's robust security features, it feels like we're building this pretty strong fortress.
It feels like you're building a fortress around your online
lives. Yeah. But before we move on, I think there's one final aspect of security that is worth talking about.
Okay.
And it kind of goes beyond
what's up?
Routers and software and passwords.
Okay.
And that's securing ourselves.
Securing ourselves.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Okay.
Isn't that what all of this is for?
So while technology plays a vital role in protecting our data and devices, our own behavior and awareness are equally important.
Also, we're the weakest link. We are often the weakest link.
In the chain?
In the security chain.
Okay. So even with the best security in place, our own actions can still put us at risk.
And our actions can put us at risk.
Right.
So how do we strengthen that link?
Okay, so it starts with awareness.
Okay.
We need to be mindful of the risks and be vigilant about protecting our personal information. Don't share your passwords with anyone.
Right.
Be careful about what you post online.
Right.
And be very skeptical of unsolicited emails and messages.
Yeah.
Always think before you click.
Think before you click.
Think before you click.
Good advice.
It's good advice.
So it's like being aware of your surroundings in the physical world as well.
It's like being street smart.
Right.
In the real world.
You wouldn't give your wallet.
You wouldn't give your wallet
to a stranger.
To a stranger.
On the street.
On the street.
Right.
So apply that same caution online.
Okay, what else?
All right, so another thing is practice good digital hygiene.
Digital hygiene.
Yeah, this means things like regularly backing up your data, using strong passwords, keeping your software updated, and be careful about what you download and install.
So it's all about creating these good habits.
It's about creating good habits.
That minimize your risk?
Minimize your risk.
Yeah.
Okay, but where do we draw the line between being cautious and being paranoid? Because it's easy to get
It is easy to get overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed with all the threats out there.
So finding the right balance is key.
Right.
It's not about living in fear.
Right.
It's about being informed.
Right.
And taking reasonable precautions.
So be informed.
Yeah.
Be proactive.
Be proactive. Be responsive.
And be responsible in your digital life.
Digital lives.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Now, before we go any further.
Before we wrap things up.
I think there's one other thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
And that's
what's that?
Responsible digital citizenship.
Responsible digital citizenship.
So we've talked about securing our devices and our networks.
Yeah, we've talked about all the technical stuff.
But what about our online behavior?
Yeah, what about how we behave online?
Yes.
How we interact with others?
Interactions.
Yeah, it's like we're all citizens of this digital world, and we have a responsibility to each other and to the community as a whole.
So what can people do
to
be more responsible?
First, be mindful of your digital footprint.
Digital footprint.
Yeah, every website you visit, every post you share, every email you send leaves a trace.
It's like leaving footprints in the sand.
It is.
Okay.
They might fade over time, but they're still there.
Right.
And in the digital world, those footprints can be accessed and used in ways we might not anticipate.
Okay, so be mindful
of our
digital footprint.
Digital footprint.
Also be cautious about social engineering scams.
Social engineering scams.
Where hackers try to trick you into revealing personal information.
Okay.
They might pose as a trusted source, like a bank or a government agency.
So if something seems suspicious, trust your gut.
Yeah, trust your gut.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like being street smart in the physical world.
Right.
You wouldn't just give your wallet to a stranger who approaches you.
No.
So apply that same caution online.
Okay, what else?
Another important aspect is respecting intellectual property.
Oh.
This means not downloading pirated movies or music.
Right.
And giving credit where credit is due.
Yeah, give credit where credit is due.
When using someone else's work.
Okay, and I think finally... etiquette.
Online etiquette.
Right.
Yeah, the same rules of politeness and respect apply online.
Yeah, just be nice.
As they do in the real world.
Be kind.
Be kind, be polite.
Yeah, don't be a troll.
Don't be a troll. Don't spread misinformation.
Right.
And be mindful of other people's feelings.
So it's all about creating this positive...
It is an inclusive.
It's about creating a positive and inclusive online environment.
Online environment where everyone feels safe and respected.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So responsible digital citizenship is about taking ownership of our online actions, recognizing their impact on others, and striving to make the digital world a better place.
It's a powerful message.
Yes.
And one that's often...
overlooked.
It's often overlooked.
I think.
Yeah.
But as our lives become more and more
but it's important.
Intertwined.
It's becoming more and more important
with the digital world.
As our lives become more digital.
I think it's something we need to really...
Well, we need to think about it.
Think about.
Yeah.
All right. So we've covered a lot of ground here. From the technical aspect
We've covered a lot.
DrayTek routers to...
We've gone from the very technical to...
this idea of
responsible.
Digital citizenship.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what key takeaways?
Yeah, what are the key takeaways
would you leave our listeners with?
All right, so first, choosing the right router and configuring it correctly is absolutely crucial for a seamless and secure online experience.
So DrayTek routers, with all their features and customization options.
And their customizability, they're a great option. For both home users and businesses.
Okay, second,
security is not a one-time setup. It's an ongoing process.
It's a journey
that requires vigilance, awareness, and good digital hygiene.
We've got to be
proactive about protecting ourselves, our data, and our devices.
Okay, and finally,
responsible digital citizenship.
Responsible digital citizenship
is paramount.
Right.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that our actions in the digital world have real-world consequences.
Okay.
And striving to create a positive, inclusive, ethical online environment for everyone.
I love that.
Yeah.
So by embracing
all these principles,
we
can harness the power of technology for good.
Yeah.
And make the digital world a safer and more enriching place for everyone.
What a fantastic note to end on.
It is a good note.
Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
Joining us
on this deep dive.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to explore the resources that we mentioned.
Yeah, check out the show notes.
In the show notes.
There's lots of good stuff in there.
And continue your journey of learning.
Yeah,
keep exploring in this ever-evolving.
Yeah, the digital landscape is always changing.
Digital landscape.
Yeah.
All right, until next time.
Stay safe.
Stay connected.
And
stay curious.
We've
really covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
From the technical parts of DrayTek routers.
Yeah. From the nuts and bolts.
To this whole concept of...
To the bigger picture.
Yeah. Responsible digital citizenship.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we've peeled back the layers of the internet onion.
We have. It's a complex thing.
Revealing all the complexity and the potential.
There's a lot of potential there.
Both good and bad.
For good and bad.
And it's clear that technology, especially something as basic as a router, has a huge impact on our lives.
Yeah, it does.
You know, in ways
we probably don't even realize.
We don't always realize.
Yeah.
Speaking of impact,
you
mentioned earlier that even with really good security measures in place,
Right.
our own behavior and awareness are still crucial.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
We can have the best security systems in the world, but if we're not careful, we're still vulnerable.
It's like having a high-tech security system for your home.
Exactly.
But leaving the door unlocked.
Leaving the door wide open.
Right.
Really.
Human error
Human
is often the weakest link.
It is.
So how can we strengthen that link?
How do we strengthen?
How can we become more security conscious?
It starts with awareness.
Okay.
We need to be mindful of the risks.
Right.
And be vigilant about protecting our information.
Okay.
Don't share your passwords. Be careful what you post online.
Right.
Be skeptical of unsolicited emails and messages.
Yeah.
Think before you click.
Think before you click.
It's good advice.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
So it's like being aware of your surroundings.
What about being aware of your surroundings?
In the real world.
Both physically and digitally.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so think before you click.
Think before you click.
Be aware of your surroundings.
Be aware of your surroundings.
What else?
Practice good digital hygiene.
Digital hygiene.
This means backing up your data,
Okay.
using strong passwords, keeping your software up to date, and being careful about what you download.
Okay.
It's all about good habits.
Good habits.
Yeah.
So it's like we build these habits for physical safety.
Yeah.
We can build them.
We need to build habits.
For digital safety as well.
For digital safety.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into DrayTek routers and the world of online security, what key takeaways would you leave our listeners with?
Okay, so first, choosing the right router and configuring it correctly is so important for a seamless and secure online experience.
So DrayTek routers, with all their features, seem like a really good option.
They're a good option for both home users and businesses.
Okay.
Second, security is not a one-time setup.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
It requires vigilance, awareness, and good digital hygiene.
We have to be proactive.
We have to be proactive.
And
finally, responsible digital citizenship is paramount.
Okay.
It's recognizing that our actions online have real-world consequences and striving to create a positive, inclusive, and ethical online environment.
That's a fantastic point.
It's something we all need to work towards.
And it's a great note to end on.
It is.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
On this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Into the world of DrayTek routers and online security.
It has been a pleasure.
And to our listeners,
yes,
we encourage you to explore.
Explore those resources.
The resources we mentioned in the show notes.
And show notes.
And continue your journey of learning.
Keep learning. Keep exploring.
And discovery. In this ever-evolving...
The digital world is always changing.
Digital landscape. So until next time, stay safe, stay connected.
Stay safe, stay connected.
And stay curious.
And stay curious.